Hey YouTube, this is Rexity, I'm Marcus.
I'm Rose.
I'm Nikki.
And this is the React Guys podcast.
Yeah!
Yeah, so it's been a pretty chill last couple of weeks. So I've been thinking since the other day about how the other shows I've been watching, not the other shows, all the shows we've been watching have been kind of more, not somber necessarily, but a bit more serious.
Yeah, definitely not happy-go-lucky guys.
True.
Yeah, I was wondering if you guys had like a preference for a certain tone or not, because I kind of like when they're more serious, but especially with episode of Dororo that we just watched, episode 6. Yeah, so you guys, it's probably infamous among you guys of how sad it is.
Moriko Part 2. Moriko Song Part 2.
It's so somber that it makes you wonder how this story is going to end, because we start talking about the brother and things like that. Yeah, is it going to have a happy ending, a bittersweet ending? Do you guys prefer stuff like that?
I like stories that are more like going back to ReZero. ReZero is like the perfect epitome of everything because it's like it does so well to remain positive and hopeful, and like for you to be like, I love this show, but at the same time it'll break your heart, crush it, and like put it through a mortar and pestle, and then give it back to you with some candy and say I'm sorry, and then you're good.
I was thinking of ReZero in my comparison in my mind too. I wanted to touch on the fact that the end of episode 5, I started feeling depressed in Dororo. And I was like, I don't like this feeling that I'm feeling. Like, I'm sad after that. And it's honestly weird because I shouldn't be surprised. This is a very tragic Hyakimaru and Dororo, who's an orphaned child, and you know these kids that we've come upon. It's a very tragic time period. Like, I shouldn't be surprised that sad things happen, but something about the way Dororo's attitude from the very beginning just felt so hopeful. And the last episode felt sad. And even today's episode, we watched episode 6, felt sad. You know, like, it's just sad now. I'm sad. But the funny thing is, I feel like a veteran when it comes to these feelings now.
Your calluses are starting to
calluses,
build
yes,
on your heart.
which is good and bad, I guess. Bad in that maybe my reactions won't be as strong because I'm like, I've experienced worse. But good in that I can get up and dust myself off, you know, and sleep well at night, and then watch another one the next day, you know. So, but then I was thinking of, I think the reason I'm like that now is because of shows like Code Geass and ReZero. You know, where we've gone through so much emotional turmoil that you kind of had to grow a backbone.
Yeah, you guys had a pretty visceral reaction to Code Geass. I remember thinking like, wow, this is really affecting you, because it's, in terms of overall anime, especially for the time, it's more mild compared to the more brutal stuff that can be out there. So at the time, it just kind of, this is a war anime, we're expecting to see casualties, stuff like that, but because you're so fresh to it, you know, you're seeing a realistic reaction to what the average person would react to this kind of thing, so it's kind of refreshing to me. But I think part of the reason you might have also felt really sad for like episode 5 is because a lot of animes, if you think about even the happiest ones, their backstory is almost always tragic.
It's
always very sad,
and
they take that sadness to use as a base to either excuse the character's actions or to build a more hopeful character, or showing them persevering. That's very common, is showing them surviving and breaking the odds or whatever.
And that's probably the reason that I got, I guess, misguided in the beginning of Dororo, where I felt like, oh, it's okay, we'll have happy times. Because sure, he has tragic backstory, but don't they all? You know? And so I was expecting like more hopefulness going through the show, but it was no such thing.
I that is something that I noticed about myself. The stories that I typically go for, like when I'm on a binge of like, just give me all of the media, I'm like, usually I go for the stories that you were abused by your parents, they hate you, I'm watching that story because eventually they'll be like, okay, I'm gonna break you back by the end of the story. I like the overcoming part of it. If it keeps that tone throughout the whole story and by the end it stays tragic, I'm like, I don't like this. But if by the end they're like, I survived you, I'm like, yes, I love this. My favorite story, top 10.
I want really low lows, but it has to end on a high.
It has to have good highs too. It has to be balanced. If it's all sad, then it's you don't know.
No.
You can't deal with that. And maybe that could also be part of the reason I felt sad is because I was like, I don't want to give a spoiler for episode 5 how it ended when he lost something important, and I was like, but that was new. He barely had it for a couple years, So I felt like legitimate like hopelessness is like, but no, that's not supposed to happen. He's supposed to be getting things, not losing them. So that's probably part of the reason. So I was like, I started feeling like, we might have more negative things than I expected to happen. Not really feeling.
Yeah, the things you thought you were safe from, no one is safe.
No one is safe.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen has only one more episode for the current arc, according to online sources.
I was right.
August 3rd. That should be the last one for the arc.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's been very nice to see the backstory of these characters, but I do feel like we do need to come back to present times because Gojo at this point is busted.
Yeah.
I mean, he is already broken,
Yes.
but we could see him struggle, I should say. Now he is going to be the best forever, for at least like 10 years till other characters come into being,
Yeah.
So we might as well leave the area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still like wondering like what's breaking Ghetto. Ghetto looks like he's ready to snap too, but like I forgot which of you said last time, is that enough to snap him all the way?
Yeah.
With you? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it should snap him in a way that he wants vengeance, but is it vengeance against the world? Like, I can't remember what his whole shtick is. Anyways,
He felt like the sorcerers should rule the world. There should only be sorcerers and curses.
Yeah. I think that maybe what they might be doing is showing us what starts to break him. They might not show him breaking all the way, like the whole them switching, but they might be planting the seeds. This is what set them to swap their ideologies or whatever.
Don't point out that the last episode I saw, episode 5, Gojo actually was using Ghetto as his moral compass.
Yeah,
Where he
I did
asked him,
notice that.
should I kill these guys or not? Because I can't feel anything either way right now.
Oh yeah.
And if he had said yes, things might be very different to modern day times.
This is true. And I also see something else happening where the place they're in mentally right now, the two of them, could be, if they have a fight at this point, that could also be, that could maybe worsen the situation and maybe cause the rift. Like, because they are in not a good place mentally, and then they have an argument of moral standing or something like that.
Yeah.
They're like, uh-oh. I could see that happening, that working towards the plot.
Yeah. Yeah, so for Ghetto, he's a very interesting villain, but I still don't feel like he can possibly challenge Gojo in a fight. Like, he's really strong, and maybe before his enlightenment, he could probably have taken Gojo. Maybe. Big maybe. But every single fight we've seen between Ghetto and Gojo in modern times, it's not really close.
No. Ghetto is like, okay, I'm working an exit strategy here.
Yeah.
Basically.
Like in the movie with Yuta, he was trying to fight Yuta. He wasn't even trying to fight Gojo there.
True.
So, I mean, we still don't know what happened at the end because he spoke with Gojo a bit.
Yeah, they said words.
I just got a theory.
I had a theory that I had a while back and I forgot to say. And this is a perfect opportunity.
Okay, I'm gonna remind myself.
Write down your theory. My theory is, what if Gojo and Ghetto have been working together this whole time? Yes!
What if they're working to like collapse the system on either side?
On either side. That's what I was thinking.
And maybe that's why they're currently on the sides they are, because it's their where their moral compass is strong, I guess. Where Gojo is like, the strong should rule. I'm gonna work with the people who want to help the weak, so that I don't go, to the bad side. And Ghetto is doing the same thing from the bad guy's side because he's stronger in the good moral compass.
That's interesting. Yeah, I was just thinking, so that whole whisper moment was, I wonder, because he laughed, Ghetto laughed, like he didn't expect that, whatever he said. So I wondered if Gojo was working on the same plan as Ghetto but not telling him, or they really are just on the same, like, this is part of the plan the whole time. The reason I think of that is because they made a plan from before they went and got Star Plasma that if she doesn't want to do this, game over.
Yeah.
And he was telling her that, like, that was her plan. We made it. So I feel like they're just that type where they did just, like, make a plan. Yeah, let's take over the world. Sure. All right, I'll do this. You do that. You know? Like, I think they're strong enough to do that. But I don't know. That's my theory.
And the show's finale is just Itadori and his friends fighting
Gojo. Oh, it would rip my heart out, but it would make it epic. It would make it epic.
That'd be amazing. I don't know. This Gojo's literally untouchable. You can't touch him.
Is.
One sword can get through his barrier, and that's it. And that sword is now gone. Gedo now has that sword.
Yeah. That's true.
But yeah. So for the other stuff that we've been doing this week, I mean, I found that I've been reading a whole lot of Korean manhwa and maybe a couple Chinese manhua. I'm not entirely sure sometimes because I just see it. But something I've noticed is extreme brutality.
Yeah.
It's really surprising, and I guess I could kind of call it a kind of culture shock. But the main character can sometimes be wronged, and often, even in anime, even though there's retribution, there's an opportunity for reconciliation. And even if it's not reconciliation, the punishment usually fits the crime and it doesn't feel too extreme. In manhwa, the MC just gets a blank check to do whatever he wants.
He really does. He does.
It's true.
Sometimes it makes sense. Like, let me give you an example. I was watching one of those YouTube channels where they read the manga to you, and it was it was like a surgeon who got reincarnated in a new life. I can't remember the name of the manga, but if you just Google that, it'll be the first one that comes up. And he's really good at his job, but every turn he goes, there's some other guy who's like, no, I'm the best doctor. Like, there's just doctor beef. And one of them tries to kill him, and he turns on him, and he defeats him in the end. It's just like, the king's like, all right, we've got to punch this guy. Guard, what do you think we should do? I was like, well, since he poisoned, like, the royal consort or whatever, we should kill his paternal and maternal side of family and his kids and him. And so it's like, that sounds just. How about you, doctor? What do you think? It's like, okay, chill. So he did serve your father and your father's father, so you had to respect to that. Don't kill him, just kill him. And just
kill all of them.
Kill all of them. Yeah, but even that is still like, wow, you still want to just kill that guy, because usually in like Western stuff, you would be like, don't kill anybody. That's wrong. Yeah. You know, or even anime, I could see maybe doing that. But he's just like, no, kill this guy, and then he walks with him to the execution place, and the guy's like, you know, thanks for saving my family, and he gives him some information that could help him. I guess some spies are coming after him. And it's like, yeah, sure, thanks for that. I still hate you. Go die. You know, that's the feeling that you get from the situation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, brutal, but fair. Enough, I guess.
Yeah.
The other one I saw, that one I remembered because I watched it recently. It's called Surviving as the Hero's Husband. I wouldn't say it's a very good manhwa, but it's average.
Yeah.
And the story is insane in that the main character just writes on the wall in red every person who wrongs him, and he crosses their names out once he gets his revenge on them. Like, he just writes their names, and his wife, who he's married, is just like, this is a bit much. He's like, nah, I'm killing all these people. And
oh my gosh.
to give you an example, one person wrongs him by he gets paid to say that his wife had an affair publicly.
Wow.
He manages to flip the situation and turn it around. So they manage to drug him and get him to also publicly admit to the plans, and then they arrest him. Not arrest him, after he passes out, they have some rabid dogs bite him to give him rabies. And then the main character is like, yeah, so you're gonna get rabies. It's a slow and painful death. I hope you know that. But there's also a chance that you survive from that. So I brought some guards. They got some rabid dogs, and they sick the dogs on him, and he just leaves. The main character also says, man, I sure can get used to the sounds of screaming. I love it when my enemies are suffering. And there's no pushback from that.
That's ridiculous.
The main character's wife is just like, man, he sure can be petty. And everyone else is like,
petty? That is your word of choice.
Petty.
He really likes to get back at these guys, huh? Nobody questions this. And I get it. Sure, the main character has a right to get retribution, but what the hell, man?
Yeah, another thing to add, he gets teleported like back in the day, so there's no medical treatment for the rabies.
Oh, yeah.
So no.
Then there's also, the other one was there's a bandit who tried to execute him, but then he bribed him off, and then he tried to attack his family. And so then what he does to get retribution against this guy is he starts going to like his gambling parlors, because he got like see-through vision, so he can see whatever the bet is, and so he's winning the gambling bets constantly. And he's like, all right, so what I want in exchange for me stopping bankrupting you, you break your son's legs. His son's not a fully grown adult because he was in on it, but still, it's like, break his legs. So I was like, I'm not doing that. Bet. And so he goes around and gets everyone else who's in debt to this place and starts winning them money too. I was like, okay, fine. I'll break his legs. And it's like, fine, okay, but that was the previous price. Now, I want you to break his legs publicly and break that guy's legs publicly and his arms.
It's like, who is that guy? Some guy.
He does, and it ain't a clean break. There's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And he also stipulates that you're not allowed to give them any money, any doctor's treatment, or contact them. You exile them from your family. They're like adopted named sons. It's not an actual blood son, but still. It's like, no one, and I checked the comments, no one commented on this. Everyone's like, man, the MC, he's so brutal, but he's right to the point. And people just like, this, is there like an equivalency of crime to brutality here? And the only thing I could think of is, if someone could correct me, what my conclusion was is that their mentality is, there is good or bad, there's no such thing as middle ground, and if someone does something bad, they deserve anything bad that could possibly happen to them. That's the vibe I got from this. So I'm guessing that's why justice is so brutal in these, is they expect that crime can be just as brutal. I don't know.
Yeah. So I also think like two possibilities. One is culturally acceptable, that this is the punishment you get, like the black and white only. Or two, these were just like people who wrote fan fiction and just got a little too much money. That's what I'm saying.
Oh like my god! It's a warning. It's red flags everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Concerning.
And if it was only one, it'd be like, okay, this author is just really out there.
No, but it's
to varying degrees, but they all have that tone of extreme brutality to the people who wronged them.
Yeah.
My goodness, I'd like to see some history.
That kind of reminds me of this other manhwa that I think it's a manhwa. It's a webtoon, but I think it's Korean. The author is Korean, if my memory serves me correctly. It's called The Greatest Real Estate Developer.
Oh,
I love it.
I'll read that one.
It's really good. So it kind of goes in that it's kind of it is an isekai. He was in this real world, and then he dies and gets isekai'd into a book he was reading, where it's like but he gets isekai not as the main character. He becomes somebody who meets the main character like in the beginning of the book, but he dies like before the book begins.
Oh wow.
So he's that guy, and he's also like, everybody hates him. He's a drunkard. He spends his wonderful good parents' money and worries them all the time. He's just a terrible person. That's who he becomes.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. And the way he works in that he will also kind of be brutal, but like not physically brutal. He won't beat anybody up. Well, he does this one guy, but but he will happily bankrupt people and basically indentured servitude them if he feels wronged by them.
Wow.
And he fully enjoys it. He has this specific face that when people see the face, they're having nightmares now.
Oh no.
But it's much funnier in that one, not nearly as cruel or brutal, but like it's kind of like, that's brutal, but I can kind of get behind it, you know.
Okay.
Some financial benefit here.
So is it that this whole manhwa or whatever is happening before the book starts?
No, he's basically altered the path of what's supposed to be happening.
Okay.
So he does have some knowledge, but like the more he changes things, the more things become unpredictable. But he can still kind of use the information he knows about characters to predict what they'll do.
Does he have powers?
It is kind of a fantasy manhwa in that or the book he was reading was a fantasy in that the main character is like a super mage kind of knight.
Yeah.
So he has some powers too, and also he has like, I guess it's a power of fourth wall in that he hears the narration.
Oh,
and also
wow.
the narrator is a bit sassy to him sometimes.
Okay.
She can
And
speak to it.
Yeah, and he can also unlock like different abilities, and he can upgrade his abilities and stuff.
That's cool. Sounds interesting.
I'm kind of wondering where the real estate developing comes in all this.
He was a civil engineer. I think is an architect type of engineer. So he's using his knowledge of that stuff to like he builds basically floor heating, in-floor heating for the houses just before winter starts, and that saves a bunch of people. And people are like, oh my gosh, he's not so bad. And then people eventually love him. Like he's at the moment that I'm reading, people are borderline cult for this guy. Because the thing is, he knows so much about. It's like a fantasy. Medieval type world, so he's building like aqueducts and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like this man is crazy.
New king.
Basically.
Honestly, just make him the king.
Yeah, make life perfect. But he's just concerned about his parents are counts, so they own some land or whatever. So he's just more concerned about these people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still terrifying though.
Yeah, all the MCs are terrifying. It's been a while since I've seen one that I felt like this is just a good dude trying to do his best. Don't get me wrong, they're all trying to do something good, but I never felt like the main character was a good person. And I wonder if that's something they're not even trying to go for.
This MC, I think he is a good person. It's just he's specifically gone through such a hard life in his previous life that he's like, I don't want to be a doormat, and that's basically his whole mentality. But he is still a good person most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah. There's like these elves who are like they're completely carnivores because they're the opposite of vegan. They're like, let the plants live. They love the plants, but they don't. He doesn't tell them that the meat that he's giving them is cooked on charcoal. Wood died to give you this food.
It's not so bad. Yeah. Let's just something spiritual about it and they're getting cursed. In which case it's very bad, but...
No, they believe the plants have souls, so...
Do they have souls?
I don't know.
It's alright. It's all good. Yeah. So other media that we've consumed recently is we saw John Wick 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, finally.
I didn't feel like we should make a movie review about it because it was so late after the fact. But what do you guys think of that movie?
I enjoyed seeing it because it was John Wick movie. That's what I feel like.
Yes.
I feel like what I loved from like 1 and 2, I did not feel in this one.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I still felt the excitement of like, oh man, the gunfights and stuff.
Yeah, the fights were good.
For John Wick 1, it was so, like, practical. I don't know how else to explain the fights, but it's like it wasn't spectacular. He's not like flipping over people, and he's not like
using pencils.
Well, he did.
No, I'm saying he was using pencils.
Yeah, he was using everything at his disposal, whether it was a cool thing to use to kill somebody or not.
True.
It was just practical, and that's what made me go, wow.
True.
In this one, it felt a lot more choreographed, the fights, and like I could see like this person falls a certain way to give him an opportunity to do this move.
I did notice that a little bit.
Yeah. Kind of like, especially the whole, there was like a car scene. The staircase. Just, the roundabout as well.
The roundabout felt choreographed.
Yeah.
I felt that way about one of the earliest fights when they're inside the underground semi-museum looking place in Tokyo.
Oh yeah.
When it's fighting against the
I saw it there too.
That's where I felt it most.
I don't know if it was one shot or not, but it certainly felt like a situation where they didn't want to do it over and over and over and over again. So just get it right the first time, because there's a couple of times someone would just grab someone's arm and they'd be like, Yeah. Whereas in John Wick 1, if you did that, you're dead. Immediately.
Yeah. That's true. That's what I was wondering.
Takeouts were much quicker in the first couple.
Yes. I was wondering if Keanu acted most of it, because maybe that would be a reason why they had to like be careful with him. Like, don't break Keanu or you're in trouble.
Maybe.
He's also getting older.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to hurt
your
feelings.
Like 10 years. Why would I?
Because you guys love him.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah.
It's been like 10 years since the first John Wick.
Has it really?
Pretty much. Let me see.
Are you sure?
Does that mean he's 60? 2014.
Oh my gosh! Holy crap, it's almost 10 years.
This is number 4.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe Keanu is just shy of 60 now. Let's see.
58. You are so on target. And so was I. I was just throwing 60 out there. Because I remember when they were saying he was around 15, it's like, no way. So I'm like, sure, just add another 10 years from the last time I heard about that.
Look, Tom Cruise is 61.
Let's see.
Wow.
He does not look 61.
No.
Well, neither does Keanu.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by Tom.
Option of youth.
I mean, Keanu, yeah, I believe he's just chill. Tom
He's
Cruise,
just super chill, yeah.
he's doing something weird.
Doing something weird over there. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But, yeah, I felt similar to what you're saying with the choreography. It was the first time ever that I experienced a feeling of, can we just move on with the plot? When the waves of people are coming in the downstairs, it's like, I get what you're doing, but it didn't feel like anything innovative or new was happening.
It just felt repetitive
like
and we just keep going. Yeah, it felt like a slog, yeah.
Yeah, it felt like that level of the game where they like survive until this person gets here and you're just like, when are they getting here?
Yeah.
I've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
You know?
Which it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at all. In fact, it was very good.
Yeah.
It's just at the same time in the back of my mind, it was like, it's taking a lot of time on this.
Yeah.
And I do think that in 4, we got some of the... John Wick was never a necessarily deep character, but we got nothing new to build his character in this one.
90% of his lines was,
But I think they were doing that on purpose.
It did feel on purpose.
Like, they were just like, that's gonna be your line because people like it, basically. But I remember I made fun of that from the very first John Wick. It was like, that's so he talks every time. Like, I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it. But I liked the show, and I kind of got on the bandwagon. Keanu Reeves, let's love this guy, you know.
You're breathtaking.
But I was never a fan of that kind of thing they kept pushing, where that's all he ever said, you know, barely talking, being all angsty voiced.
Yeah.
But that was all we got from him in the end. And then how it ended, I was just like, my gosh, I wish that the one part they should have stretched out. The one part I would have liked a little bit more for closure. They did not. I was like, okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
There's a couple of little things they seeded there at the end that I'm not even really spoiler tag this. If you're gonna watch the movie, don't listen to this part. I guess I did spoiler tag it. There's at the end when Winston goes up to the body and he says, "Goodbye, my son." He speaks Russian, and he also has a Roman Ruska tattoo on his arm.
Winston? Oh.
Winston. So he might have actually been his father.
Oh. That would have been interesting.
But yeah, pretty interesting end. It does feel like they left the door open for a lot of things, but at the same time, the director just like, he's dead till further notice. If you see money on the table, maybe he comes back, but other than that, death. I think my favorite John Wick was 2, and just below that, I put 3. And then I put 1, and then 4.
Wow, 1 is all the way to number 3 to you?
The thing is, they're all S.
It's true.
It's S nuances.
Yeah, it's like which one I just liked more.
Can you remind me what happens in 2 so I can have it in my head?
2 is where he just goes back home after 1 and he's chilling, and then the one of the people who is in the runnings to become a high table member comes to his house, and apparently
he gives him the coin.
He had the marquee. He had a mark that he'd done him a great favor, apparently, in the process of getting him out.
Yeah, he was one of the people who helped him bury the bodies that got him out with the guy.
Yeah. So he gave him a thing, basically, I owe you a favor.
Yeah, but because he was out, he couldn't actually use it on him. But he kind of self-activated with
right, so he came back in. Right.
And then that movie ends with John shooting him in the head, starting the whole Assassin's Excommunicado trying to kill him.
Right, and then he's walking like in this big square where people turn like waiting for the timer to go out.
Yeah.
Because he had like an hour.
Because Winston gave him an hour.
Right.
That he was running.
Right. And he gave what's his name, the dog.
Oh yes.
Sure. Yeah.
I remember now.
Yeah, and then 3, I loved 3 because of all the fights in 3 felt like it kept the crispness of 1 and 2, but it upped the ante with being just larger stages. Every assassin group felt like they had their own thing going for them. Whereas with 4, it was everybody either had one of 2 outfits or they just I don't know, it felt like they just kept reusing scenes almost, and that it was just the same thing going again and again.
It didn't feel like there weren't unique assassins anymore. They're just like the NPC groups. Like,
especially
go yellow team.
Yeah.
Go red team. Go blue team. Like just.
Yeah, especially that one guy that was like the right-hand man of the evil guy.
Kane?
No, the one that was like you shouldn't be. You send a blind man to fight for you or something. Like that guy. He just wouldn't die. And how many times he got hit by cars?
It was just annoying.
He just kept coming back and like, you were supposed to have died. Why? They showed you get hit and they didn't show you get up again. I don't understand. It just felt like no, we're not gonna kill him yet. We need him for this scene again. Let's forget we did that. I'm like, what?
He was just like in every single scenario. I'm like, why are you here?
And he didn't even feel deep.
He didn't feel strong, but he just kept getting back up. I'm like, why? Yeah. He didn't feel like the juggernaut that they were trying to make him out to be.
No, not at all. Yeah, I think they should have established that early on. A little bit better. But I wanted to throw back to episode or season or movie one. The reason I love it, and I think it's, even though it wasn't as action packed, it was the establishing shot, if you want to call it that. And one of my favorite things from that movie that I love was the fact that you could have special cleanup group. That just cleaned up dead bodies and asked no questions.
Yeah.
Came to your house. I feel like that appeared in another movie at some point. But I was like, I think it was in An Accountant with Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck? The guy that looks like Ben Affleck? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's Ben Affleck.
Yeah. I could have sworn he had some people come to his house to clean up or maybe it was the house he went to do the job, like people came in and cleaned up after him. I can't remember. But anyways, it was iconic after that to me from the John Wick movie, where they just have these big hulking men like just point in the kitchen, go clean up, perfectly spotless afterwards. Yeah. Amazing.
There's some of this.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's something similar in Blood Blockade Battlefield, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh really? I forgot that.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I think part of the reason why I might like one more is because there was more stuff happening than just fighting. It's like we have to go fight. In 4, it was like we gotta fight this guy, and then we gotta fight this guy, and then we gotta fight. Like it was just all
side quests.
Yes, it was side quest galore. Basically. Yeah. Whereas in number 1, we saw more of this, the way this world works. It's like we got tokens like coins,
cleanup crew, and then hierarchy,
car people. It's like the different I didn't even think that would be like
a thing.
Those kind of stuff. That's cool. Yeah, and then the hotel was like the peace thing.
Yes.
Untouched areas.
Yes. Peace treaty. Armistice.
And I think stuff like that really helped make the world more enjoyable, establishing all these strict rules everybody went by. And I feel like they had an opportunity to kind of insert some of that, more of that, I should say, into the 4th one. And they didn't really get much aside from the Marquis, who was really just a high table member elevated to a specialist position to deal with this current problem. Which he didn't really have a whole lot going on there. It turned out like everybody just didn't like him because how arrogant he was, but there wasn't a lot of characterization. Like we didn't understand why he was like this. And I'm not saying we needed a whole backstory on him. It just like hate this guy for this movie is what I felt.
Yeah, this is true.
And I feel like a lot of time that was given to nobody could have been given to him because nobody felt
like nobody.
Yeah, he just felt like he was inserted into the movie.
Yeah.
A lot of times wondering why he was here.
Yeah.
Even to the very end.
I was waiting for it to be like, oh, yeah, never happened.
Nothing. I feel like
gave the dog a drink.
They seeded something with no, not even the sign of a sprout. It was like, guess what, guys? I put a seed in the ground over here. I know you can't see it, but it's there. Basically, is what they did.
I'm wondering if I went back and watched all of the John Wick movies again, and then watched nobody flip through his notebook, if I would figure something out.
Maybe there's somebody doing Easter eggs.
Why is it a $48 million dog?
Oh, the dog wasn't $48 million. In the book, he had a villa, and underneath it, $40 million to get the villa. He just wanted a house. That's why I kept raising the price on the bounty. He saved John because he wanted John's price to keep going up until he could afford the villa and then kill John.
Is that what that was?
Yeah. That's all it was, yeah. He's just a selfish bastard. That's it.
That just makes nobody even more of a nobody.
You just brought him down a couple
Brought
of
him
rounds.
down.
Brought nobody down a couple of
That
rounds.
book just seems worthless. I thought it was basically his pages that he had all over his wall with the red lines and the thumbtacks that he just
Like he's
gathered
something
together.
Nah, it's his dream journal.
And took it with him. His dream journal.
It also like he's just such an enigma because like also it seems like he knows about this world, but
Yes.
he doesn't know enough about this world to actually know about this world.
Yeah,
Like somebody
wormed
gave
his
him the
way
journal.
in. He wormed his way in somehow.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
I will say, probably the best combat sequence was in 4 with the top-down.
Oh
sequence.
yeah,
That was
cool.
amazing.
That was cool.
That's probably, to me, my single favorite combat sequence, I should say. Sequence.
I think my favorite was in 1. I think it was 1 where it was the glass room. I think with the I forget the 2 Asian guys. It was the 2 of them.
3.
Those 3? Oh yeah, I really like that one. Another 10 years before the next one, he's gonna be like, they're gonna have to like progress the time so long.
Liam Neeson. He one time in a movie did 7 cuts to jump a fence because he was just so
Oh,
old.
yeah.
But he's an action hero.
Yes.
And he's old.
Yes.
You know?
I saw somebody making fun of that scene, saying,
He's 71. Now.
"Oh my gosh, the man is 71. That's some good dying job."
Well, his hair.
His hair. I forget we're talking about action movies and death. Okay, yeah, they're talking about his hair. But I remember somebody was talking about the cutscenes for that Liam Neeson trying to jump the fence. Oh yeah, it was a guy talking about editing, and it was all over the place. It makes sense. It was 7 separate shots to just show the progress over the fence. That's crazy. Poor guy.
Star power far outlasts your age.
Yeah. They don't care anymore. It's like you gonna act this show or else.
Which is why I kind of respected the decision to kind of end it at 4. But I also wish I ended on a better note. But then again, because they did so little character building for him, there really was no peace for him if he didn't exit some other way.
Yeah. Yeah, poor Liam Neeson. Like, I think it was the 4th Taken. Oh no, it was the 2nd Taken, and he was like, if they make another Taken, it's just bad parenting. He makes like 3 more. Isn't it up to 5?
No, I think it's like
It's 4.
I think it's 4.
It's 4 too. So is it done? Like, I can't remember how it went. Series.
3.
Oh, so it's 3. Oh, okay. I could have sworn there was another one. Is there not another one?
He has a lot of movies in the same vein.
Oh, that's probably it.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't. I was kind of sad by Taken 3. I'm like, why though?
Yeah.
Let the man live his life.
No, they had to kill everybody.
Dude, Taken 1 nearly made $1 billion. It
What?
was a good movie. It wasn't that good.
Are you kidding?
I think it's the allure of the old man is more dangerous than you think he is.
Yeah. And he just looks chill.
Oh, it's a trilogy. Okay. So all of them together nearly made $1 billion. That makes more sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Because even I saw this what do you call it? This series advertising called The Baker. It's basically like he's a dangerous grandfather basically. I think it's that they kill his son, so he's taking care of his granddaughter now. But he's also like getting revenge on whoever is now after the granddaughter for some reason, I think, and also taking revenge for his son.
The Baker.
Yeah, he's the guy who plays what was the movie we saw recently with the Gangnams with Alba.
Oh, Pacific
Rim, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
The guy who was like
Ron Perlman.
Yeah, Ron Perlman.
Oh.
He's the alien parts broker guy.
Oh yeah, he's great. Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs, yeah.
Wait.
He voiced Mr. Krabs.
He voiced Mr. Krabs?
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't you just suddenly love him?
Yes.
You're my favorite.
Yes.
Yeah, he's also Hellboy.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he does look it. I never knew who
sense.
acted Hellboy.
Very unique head shape.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
And like gait.
And yeah, body
Very
build.
Upright shoulders.
Yeah, high shoulders, short neck.
Yeah.
It sounds like an interesting show. Have you seen it?
I haven't I just saw the
Trailer.
trailer, yeah. It was basically a teaser. I didn't get a whole lot from it.
I only overheard the trailer, and I didn't look, but I heard at the end them say the baker. I was like, what? What the heck?
What did I do?
I feel like that's the new thing for shows is like take something completely unintimidating,
Yes.
but say it in movie voice and make it so.
Yes.
I have spoken.
Yeah, look at this. When his family is threatened, the baker becomes a butcher.
Oh,
Ron Perlman is the baker.
okay, then.
Hollywood is also on that kick of having a young child being protected by a grizzled guy.
Yeah, grizzly old guy. Mm-hmm.
Milk it, Hollywood.
It all comes in waves, doesn't it? But yeah, so I think that's it for the week, though.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you very much for being here. Guys, if you like your time here, please leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. Remember, you can see these 2 weeks ahead with Patreon in the description. But other than that, thank you for being here. I will see you in the city. Goodbye.
Bye.